Ooh, Nelly, it's another recording. What the fuck, Barney? What the fuck? How many times do you do this? I don't know. I do this a lot of times, actually. So, anyway, okay, so this one is not gonna have as much emotional weight to me as anything, but it does have some because I do like it. But I actually want to talk about it mainly because I love it not as, I mean, it doesn't have as much weight as Dragon Ball, but definitely I think it's something I love now. I don't know why it's so, when lack of a better term, bizarre. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Rocky's masterpiece. It's so weird. It's so weird. I don't even know where to start with it because it's like I'm never even started with JoJo. Even describing it like in its early days or anything like that. I found out JoJo through a YouTube video. And I was like, what is this purple punching dude and what does he punch dude? What is this? And I do things how I always do when I started with the first part and went onward. At the time they barely were doing part 3. So the new David production. I'm not talking about the old OVA. I didn't even watch the OVA. The old one. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know that was a thing. I actually watched that after I watched part 3 of the David production. If that makes sense. It doesn't, but it's kind of funny now that I talk about it. But yeah, I don't really have much to say because when I think about it, it's so weird to watch it. But here's the thing, I find myself talking about it mainly because I love it more than I would love any other anime for some reason. I don't know why. It's so weird. Bizarre. Again, how many bizarre puns are we gonna get in here? But the way it captivates and the way that Rocky's art style is, it's so interesting, really, and to see how he makes everything coalesce in between each other and like everything work. It's really odd when you see it go and work and I don't know. If you were to ask me why I'm still a JoJo fan or why I still support JoJo, it would be mainly because I love the series because of its characters, its story, and stuff like that. And I love Araki's art style, and I love Araki's way that he does some things that yeah, I gotta say some of them are assholes, but some other things are way interesting. And I don't know, it's so weird. Even till this day, I can really picture myself not liking it. If I were, like, even if I were to take away everything about JoJo that I loved and then restart myself again here and say, like, what if I tried to start it now? I would still fall in love with it all over again. That's where I am, and I don't know why, because it's so, like I said, bizarre that it has me like this, and I still support it so much. I don't have as much JoJo material, of course, right now, as much as anything. I do buy the games and support the music and Rocky as much as I can. I'm starting to buy figures of JoJo myself. But and of course I've watched plenty of JoJo stuff and right there, and yeah, if they make a JoJo movie, I mean, I'll buy the shit out of it, you know what I'm saying? But that's, well, I mean, they did try to make a JoJo movie that didn't work out. If you know, you know. Hello, JoJo fans. Do I hurt you? I'm just saying. But no, it was so weird to begin with JoJo the way I did, and it's just the anime and stuff like that. If I were to describe my whole process with it, yeah, I started with part 1, and I thought to myself when I first finished part 1 that, okay, this is an interesting story and everything. I mean, I could probably get to watch this. a few more times. Maybe this will be like just an anime series I watch on and off casually, and then this will be something I just do. Maybe I'll be like a fan of it on the side. Like I would feel like a few things. There are things I like that. That I won't fully immerse myself into, but I do like it from a distance. So I'll just maybe just keep watching and see how it evolves. That's sadly what Yu-Gi-Oh turned into. We're gonna talk about my love for Yu-Gi-Oh in a bit. Like actually, I have to talk. Actually, I have to make a video about that. Actually, but enough about that. I'll have to write that down. It's weird, really. When I talk about it, I just ended up falling in love with it and really liked it a lot. Mainly because the way these characters are written and stuff like that. If you were to ask me which part was my favorite part, because, well, here's the thing. After part 1, I watched part 2, of course, and I fell in love with Joseph's character and stuff like that, and I fell in love with the way they were writing the story. And continuing on to even watch part 3 already had its hook synced into me at that point. I was already like anchored into the water, and part 3 just completely took me into the JoJo waters, and I was gone after that. But my favorite part would be it's controversial anyway. What I say is I think not really. I don't think JoJo fans did pick you and your favorite part. I think my favorite part so far would be like it's a close between part 7 and part 5. I like part 5 for a lot of things, and I like part 7 for a lot of things. The only reason I say part 4 nowadays, I realized it now, is because I love Josuke. I love Josuke so much. He's a good character. I love Josuke so much that he makes part 4 for me. Like, yeah, sure, Rohan is there and everything, but like Josuke is my favorite JoJo. Of course, now I'm talking about it. Josuke is my favorite JoJo. Yeah. Fucking. I would say part 7. And there's a lot of reasons why. And of course, if you're listening to this before part 7 anime is released, because it has to be released, David. Don't measure me on that, David. Come on, do part 7, David. But I did read the manga of JoJo. I actually, after I finished part 3, I just read the manga completely until where I was caught up with it. It was barely, I think, beginning part 8. I think it was like barely ending part 7. I don't remember exactly where it was, but like, yeah. But I read the whole parts in the manga and everything, and yeah, I just kept falling in love with it there. I was immersed already. I was already immersed, and it just immersed me even more, continuing on and reading on and going on with things like that. I just, boom, I was in, fully in, and it's hard to say now. Like, as a casual person who goes on and off with anime usually now, and I watch every anime I can till its end usually. Because if I like it, then I'll watch 2 to 10. If I don't like it, then I'll watch 3 episodes and I'm done. that's how I usually do them. Yeah, no. Nowadays, it's just something I just love, and I completely accepted it into my life now, and I'll be buying more JoJo stuff because JoJo is good. I like it very much. It was very good. I try to recommend it as many times as I can to people because it's good. Honestly, it's good. Yeah, some people might not get it. Some people might not. It's not a big taste for everyone. It's not everyone can get into it, and I don't blame you. It took a little bit for me to get into, but it grabbed me, and it's not let it go for a long time. So I'm already into it. Call it bizarre, call it crazy. We all living in this JoJo world. Pun done. Alright, signing off.